What's up, everybody? Welcome to News, Games, and More, IGN's daily live news show. I'm Damon Hatfield, and I will be your guide for today, Monday, October 12th, exactly 1 month away from the launch of the PlayStation 5, and the Xbox Series will have been out for a couple of days by then. So we are 1 month away from next-gen console launches, everybody. Here to share in the excitement with me today are Sydney Goodman.
What up?
Jonathan Dornbush.
Hello.
And Destin Laguerre.
Bam. Hey, everybody.
Bam to everyone as well. And bam to everyone out there. Yes, I'm starting to get very excited. 1 month away from the launch of the PlayStation 5. We're definitely going to dig into that. But first, I demand to know what my friends were playing over the weekend. Sydney, let's start with you.
So my life has been monopolized by Among Us. Have any of you played it?
I have not. I see a lot of people talking about it, though.
It's exhilarating. It's amazing. I actually play with Stephen Rue, who used to work here. And we had this Discord server that had 6 people in it, and now it has like 60 just because we keep roping people in to playing Among Us. I mean, there's only 10 people that can be in a lobby. But it's just a fun game, and it's like nice because people who don't usually play games, because it's a mobile game, a lot of my friends don't play games, and we've gotten them to try it out, which has been really fun. But it's basically just kind of like Mafia, if you've ever played that, where there are two, well, you can set it, but we play with 2 imposters, and then the crewmates are like trying to get their tasks done, and then the imposters are trying to kill them, and then you vote people off once you find dead bodies. It's really great. Highly recommend. I think it's $6 on Steam and free to play on iOS. So
yeah, I keep hearing a lot of people talking about that. Can you imagine it working on consoles? Like, could it be a PS4 game?
Yeah, I think so. I actually think that, so we play with Discord. I don't know that there's audio supported in like voice chat supported in the game, because we play in Discord, and we play with the rules that if we're not in a meeting, then you can't talk, and once you're dead, you can't talk, and everyone just kind of like scouts honor and does that. We don't play with people who like are going to be lame about it. But I think it'd be fun if it was on console and it facilitated that in terms of not letting, like, just muting the voice channels while you're playing. But it could totally work on console.
Cool.
Bring it to console. Next gen console.
Yeah, next-gen consoles. Jonathan, what would you play over the weekend?
I feel like I've been a broken record, but for the last few weeks, I'm only continuing to still play Hades. Like every night before I go to bed, I do at least one Hades run. It's just become part of my routine now. But other than that, this weekend, I think the thing I played the most was Fall Guys Season 2. I loved the game when it first came out, but just naturally dropped off a little bit toward the end of the season. And came back for Season 2 to try out some of the new games and get the new costumes. I like the medieval sort of fantasy theme they're going for this season. So I sunk a lot more time than I expected into this season so far, because the new games I actually really like sort of how they stay true to what the game was in Season 1, but are changing things up a little bit with some fun stuff.
Yeah, I haven't gotten a chance to check out Season 2 yet. Is it entirely new obstacles? Or
Not
new
entirely,
courses?
no. So a thing they started doing toward the end of last season, which helped freshen it up, because I didn't get to do this too much, is, but like all of the games you're used to could occasionally have different tweaks and things to them. So sometimes the layout is a little different. Sometimes there's a different obstacle in a place where there was a, when there's like those hammers that kind of go around in a circle that can push you off. Sometimes those will be there. Sometimes it will be something else. So those things help keep fresh all of the games that I'd played for like weeks when the game first came out in August. But no, there's a limited number of new games they've added at the start of the season. 1 or 2 in particular that I really love. There's one called Wall Guys. And essentially, it's sort of almost the inverse of like Gate Crashers, where you're trying to go successively down, and as like the gates get narrower and narrower. Here, you're trying to scale consecutive walls, and the only way to do that is by jumping on a random assortment of platforms that are laid out for you in each one, and you and other players can move those platforms as needed to be able to get up to the new heights. So you can either really focus on just trying to get yourself forward, do something that may help out other people, or sabotage other people as you're going. It really also emphasizes using like the grab a ledge button to lift yourself up, which I barely ever used, but totally changes how I play now. And then there's another hoop-based one that I'm not a really big fan of the hoop games in there, but this one's really fun because essentially you have to jump through 6 hoops yourself before the end of the time, or before however and many number of people get through. And there are gold hoops that count for like 5 or 6 points. There are some that are just single points. And it's, again, you're all working toward an individual goal, but you can help each other or hurt each other in fun ways, and it's that sort of blend that I think really works to make very good Fall Guys minigames.
Nice. And I think they revealed an official Sonic the Hedgehog costume today that's coming to Fall Guys. Jonathan, can you imagine the Crash Bandicoot Fall Guys
I can
costume?
only be a Crash Bandicoot, Spyro. You could probably get Kingdom Hearts in there. There's endless possibilities for the Fall Guy bean.
Throw Spider-Man in there too. Destin, what'd you play over the weekend? What were you bamming?
Yeah, I hopped back into Doom Eternal over the weekend. I was trying to balance out the hertz of the monitor. I'm using a 360 hertz monitor versus the frame rate. I have a 3090, so I was trying to get as many frames as I possibly could to take advantage of that monitor, and I used Doom Eternal to sort of do that. I was also playing some Fortnite, Apex, and just the shooty shoots. And I was having a lot of fun with Doom Eternal again. I had kind of done the first intro area and got past that this time around, and now I'm continuing on, and I was like, wow, this game is really, really, really good.
Oh yeah. Did you not beat it earlier this year?
No, not yet. I probably will now. That'll definitely be on my list to complete before the end of this year.
Yeah. Doom Eternal is really, really good. Now I believe it's part of Game Pass now, Xbox Game Pass.
Sure is.
I started playing Resident Evil 2 Remake again because of the time of year it is, October, Halloween season. I like to revisit horror games as much as I can. And I am just reminded how awesome that game is. So good.
A lot of good games this year.
Just in general? Well, yeah, but I mean, Resident Evil 2 Remake was last year, but sure.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
There
Oh my gosh. Wow.
No, I know. Resident Evil 3 Remake was this year, and that seems like I'd almost even forgotten about that one. Anyway, as I mentioned at the top of the show, the PlayStation 5, Jonathan, a month from now, the PlayStation 5 is out. It's just out.
We'll see. We'll see about that. Anything could happen this year.
Yeah, anything
But
could
yes.
happen, but looks like it's there aren't going to be any delays of the console. I don't know if I'll have mine that day because mine's coming from Amazon, and Amazon has already let its customers know that the consoles may not arrive on launch day, but it'll be out. A lot of people are going to be having it. Jonathan, how are you feeling about the impending launch? We launched a whole new show to cover this topic this year, Next Gen Console Watch 2020. We've been talking about these consoles all year long, and now we're a mere month away. How are you feeling about it?
It's kind of nuts to be finally here because, like you said, we launched that show at the beginning of the year. Obviously, it's like most of the team's attention, and like this only comes, every 5 to 8 years or so, and it's a very weird one to be a part of because this is probably the strangest console launch year that we'll ever have experienced and may ever. Like this is, just the circumstances of the world have made it so strange, and it's so completely changed the way Xbox and PlayStation marketed and told us about these systems. I mean, like we're a month away, and we still don't know some really, really major stuff about the PS5. Like only last week we learned about backward compatibility specifics and save transfers for PS4 to PS5. We still haven't seen the UI. There's still some other questions. So it's like we're in a very weird year for this buildup, but it does feel real now. I've gotten to play a couple of the indie games that are coming at launch that are also like PC builds. So I've played some of those games. I know Ryan McCaffrey has played some Xbox Series X games. We're getting very close to it all being a real thing. He has, a Series X earlier version of the console in his home. We're almost there, and it's kind of nuts.
What are the indie games that you've gotten to play, if you don't mind me asking?
Sure. Last week I played the Pathless, which is from the Abzu developer Giant Squid, and then I also played Bugsnax, which is from Young Horses, the team behind Octodad.
Is Bugsnax going to deliver on that? People are like legitimately excited for that game.
I really enjoyed it. I played basically the opening hour of the game, and I think one of the things the trailers did really well is hint that there is like some weird darkness to the game that we haven't gotten to yet. And so I didn't get to see any of that in my first hour, but it's basically like Pokemon Snap meets actual Pokemon because you're catching the Bugsnax meets like walking sim visual novel game where you're also getting to know all the weird people, the weird grumpuses on the island. So it's like a mashup of a lot of things, but it still feels like there's so much that I don't fully know. But having played it for an hour, like I do really want to go back to it.
Yeah, that one's looking really, really cool. You mentioned there's still some question marks that we don't know about PS5. Over in the YouTube chat, Brandon P is wondering if Sony is going to have another event sometime soon. What do you think, Jonathan? What are the chances of Sony having another event before launch?
I don't think we're going to get another event. I want to say it was the September one. I don't know when time happened anymore. The last event they did was, I felt like the very big, like here is the PS5 event. Here is what you can expect at launch. And then after, here's the price, here's the release date. I think we'll get PlayStation blog posts kind of weekly going forward. I expect that's what we're going to see. I think we'll get a lot of like trailer drops for especially the first party games, because there's a whole new Spider-Man game and we've only seen a few minutes of gameplay. There's a new Sackboy game. There's new IPs they're trying to launch at the launch of the PS5. So they have a lot still to show, but I don't know if they'll do a showcase. They might do like a launch day kind of live stream thing. They've done that for even like single game releases like God of War and Spider-Man. I believe they did like 3 or 4 hour live stream events. So we may see something like that around launch week, but I wouldn't expect like a PS5 showcase like we got from the June event and then the most recent event.
Gotcha. Sydney, how are you feeling about the next gen launches? Or would you describe yourself as excited? Obviously, we lost Halo Infinite from the launch lineup.
We did.
Yeah.
We did lose Halo Infinite from the launch lineup. I am definitely excited. I think that my excitement kind of peaked when all of the pre-order stuff was happening, just because I pre-ordered PS5, I pre-ordered an Xbox Series X, and that was like, the adrenaline of actually trying to get the pre-order, and then kind of like the anticipation of like, oh my gosh, it's real, it's happening, I'm excited. And now I feel like I'm in this weird lull where I'm kind of like grumpy about it. Like I'm kind of upset that I'm still thinking about it because I just want to play it. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm in this space where I'm like, okay, like it's happening. Like, let's come on. So I'm definitely excited, but I think I'm just at this point where like, I don't know that I need more information. I don't know that I really need to know anything other than like my tracking number and when it's arriving on my doorstep. Yeah.
I know the feeling. Destin, how about you? I know you appear regularly on our Xbox podcast Unlocked. How are you feeling about the upcoming launches of both these consoles?
I'm incredibly excited to try out these consoles and really put them through their paces. So they do so much more than the current gen consoles do. Current gen, basically, they do 1080 or they do 4K 60. The new ones are like sporting that they can do 1440 at 120. They're sporting that they can do 4K at 120. And I just want to get into the nitty gritty with the actual technical aspects of each platform and actually see what they're capable of and see, if they had to sacrifice resolution to hit 4K or anything like that, or if they're just going to be as stunning as they claim they're going to be.
Destin, are you more excited for one or the other console?
I'd say equally excited. On the PlayStation side, I'm definitely excited to play Demon's Souls again. It's definitely one of my favorite PS3 titles of all time. And on the Xbox side, they have a lot of features and functionality that I'm really, really interested in. Both the S and the X, actually. We know that the S is like 4 teraflops and the other one is 12, I want to say. You guys probably know better than I do off the top of your head. But for me, I want to know what that actually means in terms of power. What is the S actually capable of? And that's why I'm excited about, putting them through their analysis paces.
We actually put up, IGN has 2 previews of upcoming Xbox Series X games today. I believe both of these came by way of Ryan McCaffrey. He previewed Yakuza Like a Dragon and Dirt 5. And the takeaway from both of these seems to be that they're totally solid, totally fun games, but judged as next gen titles, I think that he came away a little bit unimpressed. About Yakuza Like a Dragon, he said, as for what Yakuza is like as an Xbox Series X game, well, it's not exactly the most next gen experience out there. Loading times are indeed quick, and certain textures and details are very sharp, and the world looks very crisp and clean with a smooth frame rate, but it's far from the first game I'd show to my friends after buying a new $500 console. Pretty much similar things to say about Dirt 5, which, is maybe a little bit surprising because it's a racing game. Racing games are usually great for showing off the fancy visuals of your next-gen consoles. But again, he said, after playing a couple hours of the off-road focused Dirt 5 on the Series X, my eyeballs are disappointingly unmelted. His eyeballs are still in solid form, unfortunately. I don't know. So, Destin, you're just talking about, wanting to put these consoles through these paces.
Yeah.
There is a chance that, nothing in the launch lineup of either console, to be honest, is really going to blow us away.
Yeah, unfortunately, we were only sent one console, and Ryan has that right now so that he can do his previews and such. And I really wish that I could have gotten an opportunity to really dive in. I'm going to call out somebody else in the industry who did an analysis. Like, definitely check out everything Ryan did. But if you're really into frame rate and hertz and all that sort of stuff, Digital Foundry just can't be beat in this territory right now. And I think just giving them a nod and a salute here, because they took Dirt 5 and they actually analyzed at 120 FPS and they at 100 or 1920 by 1080, and they noticed that it dipped down to 90 at the checker line basically, but it held at 120 at 180. And that's actually technically really, really impressive for a console to be doing, for anything to be doing really. And that's one of those things that, like, I'm set up, I'm ready to go to start doing some of the tech stuff like that. And that's what I'm excited about, to just be able to have an opportunity for me to start looking at those aspects to support somebody like Ryan and to be like, hey, here's what I found frame rate wise and everything. And yeah, just kudos to Digital Foundry and their analysis, and kudos to Ryan for really, really like taking the time and care to do as much as he can with the platform, the one console that we do have.
Jonathan, what would you say your expectation level is for next gen graphics, considering that PlayStation 5 might have, even if the console is not quite as powerful as Series X, it might have the better looking launch games because they actually have some first party titles. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very excited about it. I think the biggest thing I'm excited for is the potential for load times and the stability of the games that we should probably be seeing at launch, especially because a lot of stuff is cross-gen and most of it is, being optimized for this next-gen experience, save for stuff like Demon Souls. So I'm really excited to see what we see there, especially from Sony first party, because, we're talking about really huge leaps over the internal stuff of the PS4 and the Xbox One, but PS4 in particular, and seeing what Naughty Dog and Sucker Punch did this year with The Last of Us Part 2 and Ghost of Tsushima is phenomenal. Like that is working on the PS4 and the PS4 Pro. So I can't wait to see what they and the rest of the Sony first party stable gets to do with the PS5. And I think we're going to start to see some of that work with Spider-Man Miles Morales. Obviously it's coming to both, but they clearly are working with a mind toward development on PS5. Stuff like Demon Souls, which is PS5 specific only, and that's from Bluepoint, who did the Shadow of the Colossus remaster. I think we're going to see some really, really cool looking stuff from them, and I'm hoping it takes advantage of what is supposed to be a pretty specific, unique SSD drive that was designed for the PS5. So hopefully that kind of works in tandem with very nice visuals.
Sydney, do you have a plan for what you want to play first on either console?
So I thought you'd ask me this, and I don't have a good answer. I was like scraping in my head, like, oh, what is there to play? I don't know. But I'll probably play Miles Morales on PS5. And then on Xbox, I guess Yakuza. I mean, to be honest, like being completely transparent, I kind of just got these at launch because I was like really into the hype and like very wrapped up in all that. But I don't know, like with the Halo delay and just this being such a bizarre console launch, like I'll play Cyberpunk on them. I mean, I know that Cyberpunk isn't going to be optimized for next gen for a while, so I'm not expecting to like get any like huge graphical, kind of revelation by playing it on there. But I'll probably just continue to play what I've been playing on my consoles when the new ones come, and I'll just load it on there. It's like kind of a lame answer. I wish that that wasn't the answer or the case, but just like to be completely honest, I'm just excited for the new technology and I'm excited for what it means going forward. But I recognize that maybe I have to wait a little bit before I can fully realize all that tech.
No, I think a lot of people are feeling the same way. And then over in chat, Gogo Segaga asks, he says, if Demon Souls is at launch, that will be a killer app. But Jonathan, that's already confirmed, right? Demon Souls
yeah, that's definitely 100% a launch day. Sony has a few other games, but that is like, I think the marquee sort of like PS5 specifically developed game.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's take a look at the launch lineups for each console. This is as accurate as I could put together today. So looking at Xbox Series X, day one, you're going to be able to choose from Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Destiny 2, which is also in Game Pass, Dirt 5, Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition, Fortnite, of course, For Honor, lots of Ubisoft support, Maneater, which is a really fun game. One of the most fun games I played this year. That's where you're the shark and you eat people, and you get a free upgrade to the next gen version on that one. NBA 2K21, Observer, Rainbow Six Siege, The Falconeer, Watch Dogs Legion, and Yakuza Like a Dragon. So that's 13 games, but that doesn't include everything that's on Game Pass, which Destiny, it's like 200 games on there. Is that right?
It's a lot of stuff. Like I don't even know how many are on there.
It's
right
well
now.
over 100 games, inclling the recent Crusader Kings 3, which IGN gave a 10. Destiny 2, like I said, Doom Eternal, Gears 5, Fallout New Vegas. So like 100 plus other games on top of the 13 games that are at launch. So I don't know. When I look at it that way, that doesn't seem that bad to me. That doesn't seem like that dismal. Switching over to PS5, there's definitely more games. They've got Astro's Playroom, Demon's Souls, Destruction All-Stars, which maybe Jonathan can fill us in on that. Actually, do we know what that is, Jonathan?
Yeah, that's it's being made by, I forget the exact dev, but it's in conjunction with XDev Europe, which is a Sony branch. It's basically like a vehicular car combat game. It sort of looks like a more family or streamer friendly Twisted Metal game than Twisted Metal is, but yeah.
Got it. Then the two Spider-Men, Morales and regular, Sackboy, A Big Adventure, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Bugsnax, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, which is technically out the day after, but still. Devil May Cry Special Edition, Destiny 2, Godfall, Fortnite, Maneater, NBA 2K21, Observer, The Pathless, Watch Dogs Legion. So that's 18 games for PS5. And then there's the games that are in the PlayStation Plus collection. Sort of an answer to Game Pass. That's another 18 games, including stuff like Batman Arkham Knight, Resident Evil 7, God of War. So that brings the grand total, as far as I can tell, of PlayStation 5 games at launch to 36, which is a lot less than what Xbox has. So I don't know. Xbox has over 100 games if you're including the Game Pass games. So I don't know. When you look at it that way, Sydney, does that sort of make it look a little bit more promising?
So it totally does. I think that my answer was informed by talking about the previews that for Dirt 5 and Yakuza. Just the idea that it's like, these are, I mean, most of these games that you listed off, I know have great stories and great gameplay and they're fun to play, but they're not necessarily this like melt your eyeballs. Is that what Ryan said?
Yeah.
Situation, which to me, I'm not somebody who needs like the highest graphics or whatever. Like my monitors aren't even 4K, so it doesn't really matter if it's 4K because I can't play it at 4K on my monitors. And so, but yeah, I mean, there'll be cool stuff to play. I've really been craving playing Wolfenstein 2 again. For some reason, I want like a cuddly hug, and I love that game, even though it's the opposite of a cuddly hug. So I'll probably play that. I mean, the new Call of Duty coming out. There's definitely a lot to choose from. I just wish that Halo was one of them.
Yes, everybody does. Okay,
you play the old Halos.
I can play the old Halos.
You can play the Master Chief Collection.
Both platforms are doing an excellent job at offering a lot to the people that, get the consoles early on, be that, old games that are coming over and will be playable day one with the enhancements, or just having a decent library. I'm actually happy to, when you listed it all out, Damon, immediately I thought, okay, wow. So like Xbox and PlayStation are actually a lot closer than I realized before. So yeah, it's nice to see.
Yeah, I don't think it's quite that bad. And like, as someone who's primarily gamed on PlayStation 4 this generation, getting an Xbox and getting into the Game Pass ecosystem is actually pretty exciting to me.
Did you get both, Damon?
I did get both. Yeah. Okay. But I'm, as we approach launch, I'm feeling a little bit more excited about Xbox than I am PS5, which surprises even myself. I surprise myself sometimes. Let's move on to some sad news for fans of Japanese games here in the West. Apparently, Level 5 is ending North American operations. Level 5 is mostly known for Ni no Kuni, the Yokai Watch series, and then the Professor Layton series. So I was a little bit surprised to learn this news, since these are all apparently, fairly popular games. Jonathan, were you surprised by this?
Yes, but like the more I think about it, I don't think they've had a really huge sales success in a while. The Layton series has definitely fallen down a bit. Like they haven't really been focusing on that so much with Nintendo. The Yokai Watch series, I think, never took off outside of Japan the way they all hoped it would. There was definitely, I think, hope that it could become a new Pokemon, and it never quite reached that. And then I love the Ni no Kuni games, but I don't think that love is just as widespread as I wish it was. They brought back the remaster of the first game to try to bring back some interest after Ni no Kuni 2, but I still don't see a ton of talk about it. So it just may be one of those situations where it just seemed, they have a lot of critically well-received games, but they just aren't popular at the moment, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's surprising. So now there are currently no plans to release any more of their games outside of Japan. They've already confirmed a third Ni no Kuni game in the series, although it hasn't been given a release date yet. I don't think so. Justin, have you played any of the games in these series? Ni no Kuni, Professor Layton, Yokai Watch?
Yeah, I think I did like the first minutes of Ni no Kuni at one point. And I don't know, like they're great games. They're really, really renowned. And it is a shame that we're going to lose these titles because for the fans, like that is a huge bummer. For me, they weren't titles that I particularly played, but yeah, that sucks.
I know you like the Mass Effect.
Yes.
Justin. Will you say, you consider yourself more of a fan of Western RPGs than JRPGs?
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. Yeah.
And Sydney, I
don't know what else to say.
That's so funny to me. I was just like, yeah, that's what
I like Final Fantasy and then everything Western, basically. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But Final Fantasy is the exception that proves the rule in your case. Yeah. Sydney, I don't know I don't know much about your interest level in RPGs in general. I guess that tells us what.
So I want to like RPGs more than I actually like them, to be completely honest with you. Like even Final Fantasy VII Remake, like I had been looking forward to that remake for such a long time because my neighbor growing up would always play Final Fantasy VII, but I would just watch him. And so I was really excited. I was like, this is going to be my first Final Fantasy. Like, this is what I've been waiting for. And then I started playing. I was like, oh, this is a long game. Like, what's happening here? There's lots of stuff. What? This is a lot. And I just haven't continued playing it. I think that I grew up on such a like Call of Duty, Halo, like these like shooters that there's lots of things happening and it's just like, okay, go, cool.
Yeah.
And I find that like whenever I hit lulls in RPGs is when I kind of tend to bounce. But I always try them. I do really like the Fallout series though. I will give it that. So I guess I skew closer to Western RPGs if I had to choose one. But overall, I wish I liked JRPGs more than I do because I have a huge appreciation for them.
Jonathan, we know you are a known JRPG fan. Would you say that's like your preference over Western RPGs, or do you not have a preference?
No, I think that's probably fair. I've never actually, I'm trying to think of them, and I don't think I've ever played at least like any of the really hallmark Western RPGs ever to the end. So I don't really know if I have like a fair basis to compare. But JRPGs is just something I grew up with, and I, like growing up from the Pokemon days to a ton of other stuff. Persona 5 is one of my favorite games of all time. I just tend to stray closer toward JRPGs, but I totally love and respect what Western RPGs do. I just haven't found the one that quite clicked with me yet.
Gotcha.
Wait, I have to, as somebody who has a Pokemon poster in the back, I do really like Pokemon because they're short JRPGs. Do you know what I mean? Sure. They're not like the 100-hour to get to the first plot point.
Yeah, sure. That's a bummer news for people that are fans of those games, and I was really surprised to hear that today. Let's end on some interesting news from the world of science. Researchers have found evidence of microevolution in humans, evidence that we are still evolving to this day. According to September's Journal of Anatomy, which is something I read every month. I don't know about you guys. More babies are being born without wisdom teeth today. Also, they're being born with an extra artery, but it's fine. It's fine.
Oh.
Recently increased prevalence of the human median artery in the forearm, and smaller jaws, and shorter faces being born without wisdom teeth. First of all, I had all 4 of my wisdom teeth out. Anyone still rocking their wisdom teeth?
They're out of here.
Yeah.
Mine are gone. I had a horrible experience with them too.
Yeah, it can be really bad. So actually, I mean, that evolution would seem to make sense. No one needs them. No one needs them. So just save us the step of having to like have them removed.
Yeah, I don't know. That saves some money too. That's good for the parents.
Yeah, exactly. The reasoning
Thanks,
behind fewer
evolution.
teeth in human mouths can be attributed to human faces getting shorter, mouths getting smaller, having less room for teeth to develop. Natural selection and humans' increased ability to chew food has resulted in fewer humans developing wisdom teeth. So the human race
Wow.
pumped some skill points into chewing. So that's it allowed us to just that we're not going to need wisdom teeth anymore.
I feel like I just read an article about this too, about how like basically just how the number of teeth we have and the smallness of the mouths corresponds to like what we've been eating, which I think is just very fascinating.
Yeah, for sure. This additional artery in the human arm goes as far back to the 19th century. It's called the median artery. It used to form in babies during pregnancy and then would just disappear on its own after birth. But now 1 in 3 people keep it for their entire lives. It poses no known health issue and actually increases blood flow to the hands. This study predicts that people born 80 years from now, so 2100, will all possess a median artery if this trend continues.
How interesting. This is so fascinating. Why is this happening?
I don't. It's
I love
evolution.
this.
It's evolution happening. You can see it happening much more in a shorter span than you might think, I would say.
It's wild to think that the next species that is like our downfall will have probably smaller jaw or smaller mouths and no wisdom teeth and an extra artery. That's wild.
Yeah, and the blood flow to their hands is gonna be so good. Yeah, it's gonna be great. Destin, before we go, what's gonna be the next human evolution? What's your prediction? You're a man of science.
Telepathy, obviously.
Telepathy. I mean, that would be pretty cool. That would be pretty useful, I have to say.
I wonder what the first like microevolution to go towards telepathy is. Like, what's the first thing that that people keep or changes?
I don't know.
Larger foreheads. That's where the power will come out.
So they're gonna have small mouths and very large foreheads.
Yeah.
Let's see if there's anything in chat I need to clean up before we go. Someone pointed out that only I seem to be hyped for this last section. If that's true, thank you for entertaining me. Sometimes it can be hard. You try putting together the run of show for this show right here, YouTube chat. Nope, that's it. Nothing else to report from chat.
That's
all right,
fine.
Thanks for hanging out with us on this Monday evening, October 12th. Thank you to my co-hosts Sydney, Destin, and Jonathan. We will be back here tomorrow, same time, same place, with more news, games, and more. Everybody have a great night.
Bye.